I welcome you to this training today. In this video, I'll be showing you how to export your Revit model to Lumion. And before you export your model to Lumion, there are several settings you need to do, and I will walk you through on how to do some setting right from your Revit. Without wasting your time, let's get into it. Right now, I am in my Revit, and I always encourage my students that before you start thinking of rendering your project, make sure you have modeled all the details that you need to model, because it doesn't matter your rendering setting. If your model is not detailed enough, it will not be aesthetic. Okay, so make sure you have applied all the necessary details that you need to apply right from your Revit before you export it to Lumion. Okay, so though this is not the best yet, but let's export this to Lumion now. And before we export it to Lumion, I will first go to site. Now if you go to site now, you see this thing is called survey point. If I select it now, you see that it's like an axis, y axis and x axis. So I need to move this to the center of my project, because it's going to affect the position of this project in Lumion. Okay, if you allow this survey point to be here, it will affect the way your point, your axis will be in Lumion. So if you select it, if I select this now, you can move this, you can also move this. There is another thing here. There are three things here. If I click on this now, this one is crossed. Let's leave it that way. Then I can move it to the center of my project. Move it to the center of your project, so that when you want to position your project in Lumion, it will be easier for you. Then also move this one to there too, to the exact point. Good. Okay, now that the survey point is moved to the right place, let's go to 3D now. Let's go to 3D, and this is it. If you want to export to Lumion from Revit, you need to have Lumion Live Sync installed on your computer. And if you install Lumion Live Sync on your computer, you will see the Lumion tab here. If you are in my Lumion tutorial masterclass, I give that Lumion Live Sync as a bonus to all my students. Okay, you can see it here. You see the Lumion tab here. Simply click on it. The use of this Lumion Live Sync is very vital. This button, you can use it to export to Colloida file, from Colloida file to Lumion. Then this one that look like play button, when you are updating your project, for example, if I delete this window and then I want it to be affected in Lumion, all I need to do is to click on this play button, and then anything I adjust in this project will also be adjusted in Lumion. So this Lumion Live Sync is very important. Okay, let's export it to Colloida file now. I'll click export. This is the name, and this is the same name of the project. I've not changed anything. Don't change the name. Leave it to bear the same name as it is in your Revit project. If you change it, it's not going to work. It's going to affect you. Okay, don't change the name. Let's save it now. Let's replace it, because I have done it before. That's why it's asking whether I want to replace it. Okay, let's save it. Once it is saved, we are going to launch our Lumion. Let's wait for it to save. Okay, it is saved now, so I can go to my Lumion now. Now I am in Lumion. I'm going to click on create new and I will select plain environment. Now you see the axis I was talking about. This is similar to what we have in Revit. So you see that survey point, by the time we bring it to Lumion, that survey point will be placed exactly on this axis. Okay, let's assume you leave your survey point to be somewhere outside. You can imagine you place your project, your survey point here, and then you see your project somewhere around here. It doesn't work well. Okay, so let's bring in our project now. All you need to do is to go to this imported models and also be on place. And see there are several icons here. Before you can import to Lumion, you have to be on place, right? Then click on new, import new model. For other version of Lumion, the arrangement of the icon are different, but I am using Lumion 12.5 for the purpose of this training today. Okay, so I'll click on import new model and click on this, select that particular Colloidal file that we have. You can see all these files are Colloidal files. See the way they appear. It appears as DAE, and if you check the file type, you see that it is DAE file. That is Colloidal file. Okay, let's open it. Check this. Before we check this, check this is the name of the file, and this is the folder it is going to be uploaded to. There are several folders here, and you can even create new folder here. The importance of this folder is that it helps you to arrange the model you are bringing to your Lumion, so that every time you are looking for it, you know where to look for it. For example, I have flower pot here, I have gym, I have interior, I have lights. So everything about lights will be brought to this light folder. Everything about interior, like your bed, your couch, all those things will be imported to interior. Okay, so you can even create new and give it the name you want. But for this main file, let's leave it in the main folder, which is default, and let's check this. Good. Now you see, if I want to place my model now, can you see it's ready for me to place now? All I need to do is to click, and I'm not going to click anyhow. I would rather click on this axis so that it will be placed exactly on this axis. I have placed it now. If I click again, it means I want to place another one, so I won't do that. I would rather click on this arrow to exit from that command. You can see it is placed now. If I select this model now, you see something here. Okay, it's exactly on the axis. Assuming we didn't move this survey point to the center of the building that time, what we would have is we would have had it that this point will be here, then your building will be somewhere. Sometimes you can even have your building will not be visible. By the time you place the point here, you won't see the building because it's at a different area. So it's very, very important. That survey point is in. Now that you have imported your project to Lumion, the next thing is to start setting it up. And the first thing you do is to set your frame. You set your frame in photo mode. The reason you want to set your frame first is by the time you'll be bringing in trees, so many humanization, we call it humanization, by the time you are bringing them in, some of them will not appear in your rendering. So there's no point bringing what will not appear in your rendering. So you will create your frame first. I create my frame. For me to create it, I simply adjust it and center it. Let it be at the center. You can rotate it, depends on the side you want to see. I'm using O key, pressing your O key and right mouse button to tumble it, and make sure it's at the center and you are seeing the area you want to see more. And let's see what to, so you play around and make sure you position it correctly the way you want it before you save it. Okay, let it be interesting. You can adjust the focal length. The focal length, if it is too short, your 3D will be distorted. Okay, so you need to be high enough to make it more realistic. Okay, this is fine. Then when you are done placing it, you can now click on this to snap it. Okay, then let's go to build mode. Inside the build mode, we want to start applying materials, but for this training today, we are not going to apply all the material now. I only want to show you how to apply grass. Okay, so before we apply grass, we need to move this project up so that by the time we apply grass, we will not see grass growing through our pavement. So let's go to imported model and let's go to this arrow, click on this point and go to vertical movement, then select this. You can even type, you go to type on y-axis, you can type something like 6 meters. So it is 6 meters above the floor now, which is fine. Okay, then the next thing is, let's see how it is. Let's rotate it. Use Q key to bring it down. Good. Okay, let's see. Now we can apply grass now. If you see, this is the grass we model from Revit. This is our material from Revit. Remember? Okay, so we want to make it exactly as it is in Lumion. So this is actually grass. This Lumion environment, all these environments are grass. So we want to make it exactly. All you need to do is to go to material and select this, then go to landscape. And the moment you go to landscape, grass material have been applied to that grass lawn you created from Revit. Good, so we have it exactly as it is here now. So the next thing is we want to look at it closely. If you look at it closely, you see that it is flat, it's not growing. Okay, let's make it to grow. To make it to grow, you go to landscape, then you put this one on. You see this landscape grass, put it on, turn it on here. If you turn it on here, you see that the grass is now growing. Let's look at it carefully now. You see that it has grown. Can you see that? You can even increase the height here. You can increase the height here. Can you see? You can increase the height, right? Okay, you can increase the wildness. That is, some area will be low, some will not be too low. Then you can increase the size here. Some are big. If you want it to be big, increase. You can play around with it. This look more realistic because grasses are not always uniform. Okay, then if you look at it now, it's not that interesting because it's too green. There are no variety. So to make variety, simply go to this icon here, add scattered object, select it, and here you have different type of scattered objects. Let's go to this one and select this one. Then the spread, I don't always like to increase the spread. The spread is how scattered they are, the distance between this one and this one. Then in the size, you can increase the size. You can also random size. Some are small, some are big. That should be the normal thing to do. Okay, then let's go to another slot. There are maximum of 8 slots. Let's go back a bit. Let's go to this one and let's pick one of these. Let's increase the size, then random size, then let's pick this one. Oh no, sorry, let's pick this. Another slot, let's pick this, reduce the spread, increase the size. Okay, random size. This is it. Now you have variety of grasses. Now can you see? So you play around with it. Let's go to this slot again. Let's go back. I want to pick those guys that are yellow. I like this yellow. Then reduce the spread, increase the size, and for this one, let's reduce the size more. So just take your time and play with it, and you can even bring up to 8 slots. There are 8 slots. Let's bring more. Go to this slot. You can go back. You can go to this. Bring in leaves. Go to this slot. Go back. Bring in stone. Let's bring in stone. You can increase the size. You can see it's becoming more natural now. Okay, let's increase the random size so it's looking more realistic. Can you see? Let's zoom closely. It's looking more beautiful and more realistic. So that is how you can create your grass in Lumion. Can you see? It's more interesting now. But there is a problem with this. See the problem? Every environment here is filled with grass, and because of this, it's going to slow down your rendering and your process. If your machine is not strong enough, it can even hang your machine because all these environments are full of grass. So there is a hack to it. There is a way I go around it that ensures that it doesn't slow down my system, and I have created that video in my Lumion tutorial masterclass. It's a course, it's a paid course. If you are not yet in that paid course, ensure you tap on the link in the description of this video to take you to that place where you can enroll in the course, so that you gain access to the full training. I hope you have benefited a lot from the training today. See you in the next video. Bye.